Okay. Scare away the evil spirits.
And welcome everyone to another exciting adventure on Riding Through the Unknown. I'm your host, Michael. And tonight's show, we actually were discussing this in full transparency, how I was going to introduce this. And I think I'm going to go with the way I thought I wasn't going to and say this episode was worked on for several years in the making. We have been dear friends, and I am so honored and blessed to have her on my show. And many of you that follow me, we were actually discussing this. I have been on her show 4 or 5 times and kind of been on the evolution of her show as well. And so I am honored and touched by that. And
thank you.
I am so excited to turn it over to my dear friend to introduce herself. So without further ado, I give you the one, the only spiritual extraordinaire, Molly Faith.
Hi, Michael. Thank you so much for having me. I am so honored, so touched to be here, and very grateful. Hi, everyone. Oh, so yes, this has been years in the making for sure. I know that I was supposed to come on previously. I was guided not to, not because I didn't want to, but because I was going through another massive spiritual awakening, which was really heavy yet transformative. And so now I feel like it's the perfect time, and I'm so grateful for you.
And I'm grateful to you. And what a lot of people may not know is Molly and I, we actually will talk about different subjects and everything. And she is a great listener and has great advice. And she is someone that I turn to when I have stuff going on. And so we're not just friends on shows, we're actually
That's true.
friends in real life. And it's something that I'm like, I keep near and dear into my heart. And I love, that one thing you all may not know about Molly is she actually took and created an Instagram channel for her little puppy Moon. And so I just love like watching that and just like puppy Moon's little reactions. And if you follow me, you'll see me mention sometimes Princess Puppy Moon. It's the same one. And so I just, you actually put yourself, in my opinion, into a path that not many, I think, would take. And I am, and you know this from conversations we've had. It's inspiring to watch you grow and develop on your channels. And yes, folks, she does have two channels, much like I do. And before we get too much into your story, why don't we take a moment, step back, and I want to give you floor space to share your channels and what they're about.
Okay. And speaking of Princess Puppy Moon, she is here with us and she's snoring. So if anybody hears a strange noise, that is her. She is snoring out like a light. The healing vibration of that little angel. Um, she is definitely my familiar. I am so grateful for her. I mean, she loves you guys. She loves she's highly spiritual and she's a very sensitive little being. And she doesn't leave my side. I mean, she's incredible. So thank you for mentioning her. She's just, yeah, she's my baby. Along with my child, my son, my 21-year-old. But my channels, one of them is Crossroads meets the Ocean Rose. It's actually named after my guardian angels and my main spirit guide, which is a gypsy, a beautiful gypsy spirit. And so that's where I got the name, because I wanted to honor my guides who I love so dearly, and honor. And so that is like a tarot channel where I give guidance to people. And I am so grateful for it. And the whole collective and everybody that watches me, I just am so grateful for that channel. And the other channel I have is The Walk with Faith. It was The Walk with Faith with Molly Faith, but we've changed it to The Walk with Faith Healing because we're kind of doing a little bit of a transition right now. That's where we did the podcast together, Michael. And I love having individuals come on and share their particular spiritual journeys, healing journeys, awakenings, or anything that they've gone through in their life. Because I love holding space for people, a safe space where people can discuss what they've gone through and not be judged and just feel free. Almost like what I feel like what you do absolutely with your shows. I mean, you hold a safe space for people to really be themselves and just share their journeys. So mine is similar, but we've kind of shifted it a bit to where I'm doing some of the Cephi frequencies, which I really feel is what people need right now too. These quantum healing frequencies. And so if we have the ability to do that, I want to share those with people as well. And I've been able to work with my son on that. So we're getting those out to people too. And so, yeah, it's just basically like I feel like everything I do, or like my whole mission, maybe not whole mission, but like why I do what I do is because in some way I want it to help people. And both channels are just a bit different, but I still want to help with their healing and their growth on their spiritual journeys. So, Walk with Faith Healing and Crossroads meets the Ocean Rose on YouTube.
Yes, and do follow along with those because she puts out way more stuff than I do, and so
I don't know
it's
about that.
amazing what you put out. You do. You put out like 2, 3 a week, and most weeks I do 2.
No, I think it's yeah, I think it's almost daily on the Crossroads. Sometimes I take a day off because I need to rest. And we've talked about rest, right? Before.
Right.
And then, yeah, I try to put out more on the Walk with Faith now because that was kind of like I wasn't able to put out as much there. And I really want to get stuff out in some way. So,
And so now, with that being said, how did your journey with your spirits start? What was like your aha moment that was like, ooh, this is the path I got to take, and this is so supportive?
I'm going to go back just a little bit. I wouldn't say it was necessarily like an aha moment, but we got there. I got there later. I say we because I know that it's not just me, it's them too. So as a little girl, I could see spirits. I could see literal spirits. I was able to see my deceased grandfather, who I had never met, which was a bit shocking for me, but I was able to see my other grandfather when he was passing, and some of my family just thought it was like insane. They were like, what is going on? Because I don't think they understood it. My mom did. Because she was highly spiritual and she tried to talk to me about it when she was still living, but I wasn't ready to hear it. I had shut that part out of my life. That's where the aha moment kind of came in. Because as a little girl, I was very shy and quiet and I kept to myself, but it was really because I was connecting to spirits, to energy. I felt more comfortable than being the center of attention. I'm really still that way, even though I'm on YouTube. I really do like my quiet time. And that's where I'm most comfortable, is being at peace. And so my mom would be like, where is Molly? She's like disappeared. Everything's quiet. And I'd be in there and I'd be talking to my stuffed animals, talking to spirits, and she would be like, oh my gosh, this child. But then it kind of went dormant. Yeah. But they were so sweet and so accepting, my family. But I noticed as I got older, my parents went through some hardship and they were missing a huge piece in their life, which was following their spiritual path. They let it fall to the wayside for personal reasons, losses in our life. And so I wasn't really raised that way. As I got older, I noticed that even though I had certain knowledge in different, like, modalities and stuff like that, and I kind of messed around with things, it was not the path I was supposed to be on, and I was not connecting enough. I ended up getting like really sick. Things just started to happen in my life. Car accidents, really bad car accidents, that nearly destroyed my entire body, from my neck, my C2, C3, all the way down to my feet, my SI joint. Like, I couldn't walk anymore. I had to do massive physical therapy, and it still wasn't helping. So like my body was damaged. So like that occurred. Someone hit me, and that was a shocker for my life, but it kind of opened up my eyes to the people in my life that were going to be there for me and who were not. And then as I started to heal a bit, something else would happen. It got to the point of where like I was literally deteriorating and being drained of my life force energy. And I was so sick. And I was losing my hearing. I was losing my hair. I don't want to get too graphic, but it was like I had tremors. I was so sick I couldn't even eat. And finally I went to Sedona. I went to go see healers and stuff like that. I like outsourced my power, right? So I would go and they're like, well, we don't know how you're even standing here. There's so much negative energy. Like, they did like the magnets, the energy magnets. Like, I did hypnotherapy, did tons of work, breath work, everything. And it helped for a little bit, but it wasn't enough. And so when I got home, I got sick again. And I decided to do past life regression. The tools that the lady gave me were really beneficial, but they were minimal for what I needed to do, because it's like a calling, really. I don't think we really, it's so interesting to say, because I know we choose this life, but it's like we're called. to do these beautiful things, to learn who we are, to empower ourselves, to heal ourselves, to connect with things that are not in the flesh anymore. We are spirit in flesh, evolving and growing. And we forget that we have this journey. So I had forgotten like really who I was. And I remember she gave me these tips and tools and these mantras to say and affirmations and meditations. And I started doing them and they were helping, but not enough. It was so crazy. And at the time I was in my old relationship, and that was deteriorating as well, because it was basically what people would call like a karmic contract, a learning lesson that I definitely overstayed in, because I didn't know at the time. I was trying to save everyone. And because I was outsourcing and I was giving away my power and trying to save everyone, I was actually hurting myself. And I needed to save myself. And I came up with this. I learned that you really have to love yourself so much, like your life depends on it, because it does. So finally, I got a download. And at the time, I didn't realize what that was, but it was like a message that came through. And it was my guide saying, you need to go to this place that you've seen before by where you used to live in San Diego, and they're going to help you. Good morning, puppy. She's having a dream, puppy moon. So I call first, and I said, I think I need your help. I think there's like a curse on me, or I'm dying, or something's going on. And they said, well, we're going to go ahead and give you a spiritual bath. You can go ahead and do a spiritual bath. And then you can speak to our priestess and she'll do a reading for you. And I made an appointment. And that's where it all started. But my epiphany, my aha moment was like, I'm literally dying and something has to change. This is not my path. Or else I wouldn't be here anymore. And so that's when I started turning towards my spiritual journey. And that's where I met my old spiritual family. It leads into that.
And the one thing that's amazing that adds a little bit to everything, not that, needs anything added, but the realization that when you and I were both undergoing all of this, it was not mainstream. Everybody talked about, so you could go to all your friends and say, hey, I'm doing this, what advice do you have? This was stuff we had to do by ourselves, isolated, because it was not accepted by everybody like it is today. And so I just want to pay homage to the fact that adds to those that aren't aware a level of courage that I feel needs to be honored and
Thank you.
light shown on, because we all could have easily have said, nope, we give up. Nope, we're not going through this. But instead, we, like you said, we had a mission. We had a calling. We had to do. So we learned to persevere and overcome. And that's the strength that I feel we have brought, and is what's the new generations are standing on, is the foundation we built by standing for ourselves in our own power and learning what that looks like.
It's hard.
It is. And one of the things, that you do that I find most interesting, because I feel like a lot of people don't address in the right way, is working with ancestors. So can you share a little bit of how that came about and your journey with the ancestors?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I just got goosebumps everywhere. They're amazing. Um,
Welcome to my shoes.
they're just always, they're amazing. Um, so the first, so when I met my old spiritual family, that was an old timeline of mine, I was actually guided to start a practice. And that practice is called Spiritism. It's basically like it's like a medium mystic, is what they would call. That was a part of my path. It was actually founded by someone named Allan Kardec, which is his pen name. I can't say his full name, but he was a French professor, like in the 1800s. And it was the investigation of spirits, the spirit realm, and really diving deep and finding out, how to connect, to discern, how to evolve as a spirit ourselves, and also connect with our ancestors and the enlightened spirits. So part of my guidance was to connect directly to source, right? The Holy Spirit, my ancestors, and my basically my round table, my spirit team, who are all a part of um, my spiritual army, my spiritual team. That's what they're saying. And basically, what the way I work is through prayer. I'm really big on prayer, connecting. It's almost like what we would call story time for the spirits. I'm constantly elevating them. I'm constantly talking to them, telling them that I love them, praying for their elevation, honoring them. It's also really big that when we heal ourselves and we connect and we do stuff like that, not only are we healing ourselves, but we're healing our lineage. Not placing blame on them, not getting angry at them because they didn't have the tips and tools that we have now. Also, there are so many things, so many wounds that our lineage has gone through, our ancestors have gone through, that we may or may not know about. And so it's really important for us to continue to elevate them, pray to them, honor them. So, one of the things that I will share with people is so I don't know, a lot of people have altars. They have stuff like that for, their spiritual team. I have what's called a boveda. A boveda is all white and it has all the elements on it. It has pictures of my ancestors. What's really interesting is as a child, I was called to get a rosary, even though I'm not Catholic. Well, I found out probably about 5 years ago that one of my spiritual guides is a nun. She wanted me to have that rosary as an 8-year-old little girl when I went to a mission. And so, yeah, it's really beautiful. I was always really connected to Native American history. And I found out one of my spirit guides is a Native American chief. And so it really aligns with you on your path. I consider everyone my family. I mean, I don't know how many lives I've lived in different dimensions, how I connect with everybody, but I do consider all of them my family. But for me, it's really about honoring them. I have been praying for my ancestors and elevating them. They are all lifted, by the way. That's another thing that's really big for me is I don't put at least not how I've been trained and what works for me. I don't put any of my ancestors like on the ground with like black or anything like that. Everything is white. They're elevated. I'm constantly lifting them. So that's a really big thing too. And always honoring with love. That's huge because what happens is when we leave the earthly realm too, some of them can get confused, lost, and they're in sorrow. And so they want to hang on. It's really important that we tell them it's okay, that they can go to God, that we pray for their ascension, their positive progress, and that we surround them by the enlightened spirits. So I hope that answered your question. Did
You
it?
did.
Okay.
And one thing that I will point out is when I don't everybody knows me that knows, doing all these shows, we don't have time to always tune in and watch everybody else's stuff cuz everybody's got great stuff and everything, but I tune in to Molly's more often than most.
Mhm. Thank you.
And I've often wondered, but I've never had the courage to actually ask why she's always in white. And I think we just got that answer.
It's a very pure color. Um, People think so. I used to wear black. I used to wear black all the time. I was actually told not to wear black. It absorbs negativity. Now I'm really big on black tourmaline, yes, but do I wear black? No, because it's more of a divine color. It's a more of a color of protection and purity. It resonates for me. Now it may not resonate for everyone. I just saw something too where it was so funny because everyone has different traditions, everyone has different paths, but they were like, spiritual people are not going to wear all white, and I was like, you're right, yeah, nope. And I'm sitting here in all white, and I thought it was so funny. It's just whatever calls to you, what you're comfortable with. But yeah, white for me is a very sacred color.
It is. And one of the things, too, that I love when we do shows together, and I'll speak to it this way, is like you pointed out with my show, that it's a safe space and conversation can unfold. That when I'm with Molly on her shows, it's like I have a mindset of this is where we're going. And then she'll ask me a question and I'm like, where did this come from? What? Hold on. And I got to totally change gears and be like, oh, we're going this way now. Okay. And it's a lot of fun because a lot of things that we talk about, a lot of times are topics that most people don't know about or don't want to know about. And
Right.
so it's, hard to address in such a way that it's like everybody feels comfortable, so to speak, in the room with it. But it's safe to be honest and open. And one of the things that came of that's kind of I do as a little homage to her, and I'm sure she's picked up on, is we had a moment where I was answering a question and she goes, oh my God, I'm so afraid of that animal that you're talking about. And I was like, why? It's such a great this and this. And she's like, nope. So now every once in a while, when I'm sending her a message, I'll put that animal symbol in the message. And I'm like,
Which
the
one?
dolphin.
Oh no, I'm
Because
not
I
a
still
dolphin.
remember when we were talking and I was like, yes, I got to swim with the dolphin. She's like, oh my gosh, the dolphins. Oh, no, I
That
can't
was
do
funny.
that.
No, I'm not afraid of dolphins. I just have heard funny stories of dolphins. I love sea creatures. I love the ocean. That is funny. That's funny. Yeah. No, I love all of creation. I love all the animals, but that's pretty funny, Michael. I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and
I feel like
so,
the ocean and the life, oh my gosh, it's life. It's healing, it's sacred.
yeah,
It's
and one of those moments, and we constantly talk about this, is she will message me out of the blue and I'll be like, what's up? She's like, and it used to be when it was more of the shows were live and you know everybody was talking at once, and I'd love the moments where I would get a message, she's like, hey, are you free? I'm like, yeah, why, what's up? And she's like, well, I got a question that I think only you can answer. And I'm like,
oh, yeah.
okay. And I'm like,
Well, yeah.
what am I about to be put on the spot for? And then she'd be like, can you come on? And I'd be like, yeah, okay, I'll be right there. And I'll come in and they're like, so and so is
Right.
asking about like MK Ultra. I'm like, oh,
Right.
yeah, let me share what I know. And they're like, okay, that agrees with what I've heard, or wow, I didn't realize that's what that was. And she'll be like, so what's a handler? And I'm like, that's a hard question to answer. And we have several conversations about those.
That's
And
really an interesting conversation because I'm still learning about that, Michael.
yeah, I know. And and I always would lead those conversations,
Right.
whether live or just between us. And I'd always hang up the phone and I'd be like, wow, most people, if you mention this, are like walking away and are like, nope, unless you've been through it. And then it's like, well, yeah, this is my experience. So what's your experience? Okay. And, you're on equal footing. So it's easy to talk
Right.
about a little bit. But hours, I always leave and I'm like, wow, that actually felt really good to get off my chest
I'm glad.
or to share that. And I know that you're not asking me because you're like, well, this or that, is going on. I know you're asking me because you genuinely know from what we talk about that,
Mhm.
yeah, I have a perspective of it most
Mhm.
people probably don't have. And that I'm going to bring it, and I'm not going to bring it in a way of this is what it is. You either accept it or not. It's like I just lay it out and let it go.
I think those conversations are really important because we need the knowledge. And it's not about, do you remember when I asked you about something. I don't remember which one it was, but you were like, "Yeah, be careful of fear mongering." And absolutely, I agree because there's so much of that. I feel like it's really important for us to get out there and share these things with people, so that way they are not listening to the fear, listening to some of the things that are false, but also so that they're educated so they are not fearful. It's what you don't know that you fear. So like when
Right.
I ask about those things, it's because I genuinely am curious. I want to know. I've experienced things I know other people have, and I know you have the knowledge on them. Well, I feel like
And,
the knowledge on them.
and it works both ways. It's
Right.
and that's what's the beauty of our friendship is when you have a question and you're like, who can I trust to ask this to? It's, hey, this is, I'm going to ask Michael. And when I have something come up,
Mhm.
and I'm always like, hey, you're busy. I know your schedule. And I'm like,
Right.
just letting you know this is, on my mind. And not a lot of times, but some of the times you'll be like, call me. And I'm like, oh, hey, she's taking a break. And
Yeah.
I'm like kind of surprised. And we have a conversation about it and talk through. And we always, though, make it a point of no matter how dark our conversations get, because we are honest, we always leave it in a hopeful mode. And we always are like, yeah, now here's the bright side of what
Right.
comes of this. And so it's like, we're not dragging people down. And I'm noticing in the chat room, my friend has a message for you.
Okay.
The Cryptid Huntress, Jessica Jones.
Molly
She
is.
says, "Hey Michael, oh my God, Molly is one of my favorite readers on YouTube."
Oh my gosh. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
So
Oh, thank you. That makes me so happy. Thank you. I love you guys so, so much. And I hope, like, literally, I hope you can feel my love. Like, not just right now, but when I'm doing my, oh, thank you.
no, and there's an appreciation I think that goes with both of us, and the respect of honoring your path
Right.
and my path, we actually collaborated recently on a project, and it was, to me, it was like totally made the book that I was working on so much more enticing to people, because people don't realize, and I'm going to share just a little tidbit of it, is Molly actually read book 5 before anybody else,
I'm not fully done. I have to be honest with you. I'm getting there.
but she there was a reason why I had eh, asked her this and had her read it, and that was because I pick up books sometimes and there's like a foreword where somebody writes a little message, and it's like, ooh, that kind of grabs you and makes you want to flip and read more of what's in the book. And I'd never thought of ever using one,
Yeah.
but something in me said, hey, you have the dedication page. And if you'll notice, Molly is pretty much dedicated in every book because
Thank
of her part. But this time, she actually wrote for the first time a
Ever.
foreword, and we both were like talking, and she's like, it was so, and I mean this in the most polite way, it was cute because she sent me one, and then she's like, oh wait, I just read that, and yeah, you're right, I kind of wrote this in a weird way, and it almost was like she was renaming my
Channel
book,
writing. No, I'm just kidding.
and I was like, dude, maybe I should. And I was like, no. And we talked for a moment about it, and she goes, let me sit with it. And then she comes back, and I was like blown away, and I was like, wow, this is even more than I could have thought for this. And I was like, it's like she's read the whole thing and really understood what was
Oh,
underlying with it. And so
did you see that?
I did.
You cut.
It's like yeah, it blinked. And while that was going on, Jessica says she was just literally listening to your latest video a few moments ago,
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
and says it's awesome that you did the foreword for my book.
Thank you. Yeah, I was really honored. I'd never done one before. I was very, very touched that you asked me to do that. So thank you
Yeah,
so much.
there was a little coercion, but not too much, because she was like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "God, we are so alike." It's like it's almost comical, because as much as she's like, are you sure you want me to do that? Are you sure about that? I've had those same moments where she asks me something. I'm like, are you sure? Are
Yeah,
you
of
And it's like, we
course.
literally, like, if you put us side by side, we would sound like twins almost sometimes.
Yeah, I appreciate you. I should say appreciate love because that's our word.
It
That
is.
Yep, that's our word. Um, I'm grateful for you on this journey. I remember meeting you like, when I first was like coming out of hermit and our paths aligned. And you've just been a dear friend of mine who has just been, we talk about being able to discuss things openly in a safe space. And I feel like that's what I have with you. And with no judgment, I could literally ask you anything and you would just like talk to me and
Yeah.
give me, yeah, information that I need, especially with like the handlers and the MK Ultra, all the stuff that people just want to avoid and run from. And I'm like, Michael, I'm curious. I need to know this because I'm very inquisitive, and then I take it and I grow and I learn from it. It's a piece of the puzzle.
It is, and one of the things too that's a little comical about both of us is we were kind of, I think we were joking about this before we went live, and because you were saying, yeah, I have this, journey that's put me through, and you paused for a second, and I go, to hell and back, and we kind of
Seriously
were
though.
laughing and going literally, and
Confirmation from Puppy Moon.
I heard that.
Come here.
And what people don't, and when I say, we're dear friends and everything, when I lost someone close to me, I could reach out to you when I needed to, and you made time, and you knew what I was going through, and so yeah, you kind of helped me through that. And when you're like, I need to go into hermit mode.
Mm-hmm.
I would be like, I would just write, like, I would just text you like one sentence and be like, I know, it's like, was my way of saying, I know you're in hermit mode, but
Right.
just remember, still around if you need.
Thank you.
And it was just little simple things. And we've had our ups and downs, as friends do, but we literally have been, I would say, wow, I think it's been 3 years that
That's
we've
been
been
3 years.
friends and talking through some of the darkest moments in those 3 years, and are able to turn to each other and be like, and we give each other the space. And I mean, that is something to me that is rare,
It's true. Mm-hmm.
but is so supportive of the journey and how
Mm-hmm.
our paths crossed. Was like, I feel like, almost like you were saying earlier, it's like things are foretold and forecasted, coming into this life, that
Oh
it
my God.
wasn't an accident and it wasn't a just happenstance, that there
There
was
are no accidents.
something that put
No
us
accidents.
on a collision course. And I think it was, the beauty of it was, we were so new, both of us, to what we were working on, that we were like, yeah, we can grow, we can do this, and we can
Right.
do that. And then it was like, hey, wait a minute, I need to do my thing. And it was like, okay, you go do your thing, I do my thing. And we kind of just amalgamated to where our
Right.
journeys still are aligned and
Mhm.
next to each other, but it's
Right.
not to where it's like, oh, I didn't hear for Molly for a week, something must be wrong. It's, we
Mhm.
have that understanding of, you have hours of where you do you. That's the best way I can put it. And I have time where I'm busy doing what I'm doing. And the one thing that hasn't happened, and it's not because we haven't, put the effort in, it's just our schedules being what they are, is hard to
Mhm.
do, is, and I haven't forgotten this, go on a paranormal investigation.
I want to do that so bad. Oh my gosh. Tell you what though, I'm bringing my holy water. I'm bringing my Florida water. I'm bringing my cascaria, and I'm gonna be cleansing. I'm bringing my goodies. That's how I work. Cleansing that. But oh, I want to do that so bad.
I know,
Oh,
and
amazing.
we've tried a few times, and
Right.
something comes up, and so I'm confident when our divine paths cross from that moment for that, it will happen. But
It will.
it's, that's an example of, though, is she could easily go, well, Michael's been going, doing these investigations and these things over here, but he's not inviting me. I guess he's forgotten I
Not at
want to
all.
do that. But you don't.
No,
And we both
no.
respect and know
Right.
each other well enough that we're like, yeah, we're still dear great friends, and
Absolutely.
it's gonna happen, and we don't force anything between us, and
Right.
everything is kind of a mutual
That's huge.
adoration, respect of honoring your time and my time. And the most comical thing about our paths, though, and she and I laugh about this all the time, and we kind of sometimes will be on the phone cracking jokes about this, is we put our all into what we're doing, and we constantly are reminding each other, where's the time for you?
You
Where's
always
your
you
downtime?
always give me you always I have gotten so you know what? And that I held on to, Michael, because the last podcast we did, we had this conversation and it was at my old place.
Yep.
And I've really made a transition with regards to that because, regardless, because you were like, well, Molly, you'll be saying that like you're in prayer. And I'm like, well, that is my me time, but there's a difference between like prayer because that's energy too, right? I'm connecting, I'm opening things up, I'm calling things in, I'm praying, it's lots of energy. So there is a difference between that and actually like self-care. Like we need to take care of ourselves because we put our all into the people around us, our work, our journey, our prayer, our meditation, whatever it is. But you're right. And I just want to tell you how sacred it is to have a friendship like yours. And when you find other people who respect that and understand that we all have our own journeys and we all have like our hermit time or we pull back. And it's not because we don't want to be in contact with our friends, it's because we need that time. That's our time to recharge our battery. That's our time for us, our time for introspection, for, integration. So that's a beautiful friendship to have where you can respect that and understand it. It's huge.
It is, and there's another level too. I'll just mention briefly to our friendship that just shows our commitment to each other is when something feels off between either one of us, we actually will go and say, "Hey, can you help me out by checking this or
Oh yeah.
check out what's going
Uh-huh.
on?"
I've
And
heard you do it.
it's unique because
Michael. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
both of us, it's like, when we first met, we talk about, oh, what's your viewpoint of this or that? And we were like, oh, yeah, that's this. And we would not ask for help. We were like, nope. And it was like,
I've
my team's got it.
had you survey. I will just say it. I'm gonna say it. I've had
No.
you look before.
Oh, I know. But what was funny is before we talked about it, it's like I had this feeling like she's not going to ask for help because she's like, my team's got it. I got this awesome team. And I'm like, I'm not stepping on toes.
I
I'm
know.
not.
In the
And,
last, yeah.
there were times where I'd be like, something's, and she'd be like, yeah, I know. My team is like on it and doing this. And so I'm like, okay. And then there was one day finally where I was like, hey, I was kind of going by and I noticed something, and
Let
I
them
hope
know what
it
you
was
mean by
okay that
going
I
by
helped
though.
it.
You're talking about on an astral level.
Astral, yeah.
Yeah.
On
On
the
an astral
astral
level.
level, energy wise, I was sensing something, and so I went to check it out like I do with everybody, and I was like, something's not right. And I was like,
Mhm.
and I was telling her, I was like, wait, where's her team? What's going on? And I was like, I finally made the choice, and I was like, I'm going to intervene. And I went to help, and then I pulled back and was like, I'm gone. Now that it's done, I'm not,
They're handling it.
sticking around, and I'm like,
But I did
okay.
ask.
And I was like, I hope that's okay. And she was like, oh no, that's totally fine. And yeah, and anytime you want to do that, that's fine. And I was like, okay, because I didn't want to step on toes or feel like I was,
No.
but yeah. And there are times where I'll get a text message from her saying, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, why? Your energy looks a little off when I saw you on this. And I was like, yeah, I was tired. And then I was like, and then I'll go in and I'll be like, oh man, yeah, something's up. And I'll check my energy and clean myself off. And we
Yeah.
kind of have that friendship of we ask for help without actually having to ask for help,
Right.
if that makes sense.
No, and I have asked you before because it's really a blessing to be able to have somebody who um, you can trust, that you're like, do you see something that maybe I'm not seeing, even though I can see? It's like, and you'll tell me. And so yeah, that's a gift. And then I'm able to tell you too. And if I, any way that I can help, I feel like that's really important for people too, is to, when we talked about cleansing energy is so huge. Taking really good care of yourself, trusting your intuition is massive. Trusting your guidance, because your spiritual team is always going to be there to support you, to guide you, and they're going to give you nudges. They're going to give you information, feelings, synchronicities, just something's going to feel off, and it's always to guide you for your soul's evolution. So like we're able to say that. I'm like, Michael, your energy, maybe clean yourself or do this or that, and you're like, yes. Or I'll ask you, I'm like, is something off that maybe I'm missing? And that's really good, where you can build up like spiritual family like that, who can guide you. So, but for people, trust your guides, trust your instincts, your intuition, and trust the energy, because energy really does not lie. Um, and don't be fearful. I don't know why that's coming through. It's for somebody. Don't be fearful, because know that, your guides are there to protect you, and it's always to level you up and to guide you for soul's evolution. So like even when I've asked you, Michael, do you see something? And you told me, I was like, interesting. Hmm.
I
Hmm.
know
I'm not careful. It's just good to see.
and when she first did that, I remember I was thinking, oh my God, did I see
Yep.
something I wasn't supposed to see, or did I not see what I thought I saw? And I was like, uh oh. And then she was like, I
I
get
had
it.
an
And then I was
intuition.
like, oh, okay, good. We are on the same page.
No,
Whew.
I had some information and I had an idea, but I wanted it confirmed. And so I knew that you could go and you could be like, yeah, Molly, this is going on. I'm seeing this. And I'm like, huh, okay. But no, our paths have crossed for a reason. I'm going to tell you, there is no coincidence. There are so many beautiful experiences, you guys. Michael, okay, for instance, okay, where I live, we needed to leave and move out of where we were before. And I honestly didn't know what we were going to do, where we were going to go. But this place, someone led me to this place, somebody that I know, a colleague of mine who is so dear to my heart that I absolutely love, led me here. But it was actually not just this place. There was like a whole list. But this place just so happened to like really stand out. And I called and they're like, we don't know if we can get you in here, and we don't know. And I ended up saying, okay, no big deal. I ended up like calling more places, and I called this place again, didn't realize it was the same place that I had called. And they're like, oh my gosh, Molly, we're having an open house. Go ahead and just come on down and we're going to see what we can do for you. And I'm like, okay, great. I was supposed to have a podcast with somebody that day. They just so happened to cancel right before and say that they couldn't do the podcast that day. I was like, well, that just aligned perfectly. Okay. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Welcome to our world. It's not the
well,
normal world.
you want to know what's even crazier? My neighbors upstairs are basically spiritual just like me. And she is the nicest lady. And my guides aligned me with somebody who is spiritual like me, who is well versed in all these different traditions, and who is so loving and kind. And I'm going, oh my gosh, you've got to be kidding me. And then I met a high priest who is very kind. I'm going, how did you align me here? It was like total piece by piece alignment to put me exactly where I needed to be to meet these people. And I'm going, whoa. Same with you. Same with everyone we come in contact with. And that's not the first time. There are so many different instances. I mean, I missed a flight one time and I was like, oh, it's fine. I'm just going to get another time. Well, yeah, I missed it on purpose. I got upgraded to a different seat and sat right next to the people I needed to meet for that trip. Spiritually gifted people that helped me on that trip. But what happens is sometimes things are removed or maneuvered that look like an inconvenience, and they're really not. It's really to set us up to exactly where we need to go.
It is, and I remember too, while you were trying to figure out, the move and what it's going to look like. There were a couple times where we were on the phone, and I remember just going, just trust in the process, just trust in what's going to happen,
Right.
and you're going to find the right place. And you'd be like, I don't know, and I was like,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I think I even laughingly would say, I know. And you'd be like, okay. And,
We have to
but
trust.
yeah, and so it's, a benefit to where even when we're off our game, so to speak, and feeling off, we're there to put ourselves back up and say, hey, I know you're off, but I'm not, and this is where you're at. And so I know you don't feel it, but you are. And so I'll feel it for you until you're ready. And we hold the space for
Mm-hmm.
each other. And that's a gift in itself. And not only that, but there have been probably, I couldn't even count on one hand the number of times where you would text me or I'd text you, and it'd be a simple, hey, just saying, hey, checking in. And it was like a moment where it so needed someone to talk to.
Right.
And it was like
Well,
perfect timing.
that's true too, because we'll get a thought of that's another thing for people to understand. When somebody pops into your mind, there's a purpose. And that's a really good time for you to reach out and say, hey, just wanted to say hi, sending, love and blessings to you. And just wanted to check in. I'm working right now or whatever, but you were in my mind. So there's always a purpose for that too. Because sometimes that person needs to just hear that.
Yeah, there is some comfort in that. And
Right.
I'm noticing we're at the hour. Do you have time to go longer, or do you need to go do your thing?
We can go a little bit longer. We
Okay.
can. Yeah. I wanted to thank you, puppy. She's cleansing me right now. I was just going to tell people how important it is, to stay cleansed up and take really good care of themselves. That was a part of my aha moment too. Was the realization of how powerful cleanses are and prayer, the two of those on my journey, and how they really helped. So, that's a way that I'd like to help people too. Um, so,
Mm.
yeah,
Do you want to talk some about your channeling that you do?
sure, I can. My channeling, my channeling's interesting. Um, so I very much trust in my guides and what they have to say. And the way that I work is I get, how do I describe this? I can see different timelines that are occurring, that have occurred in the past, that are occurring now, and that will occur in the future. And depending on the choices that people make, and that's what I try and do, is part of my work is guiding them to take, because I can't tell them what to do, but I can give them the guidance that comes through from my team of the decisions they can make and what course it will lead them to. And so I can see the different timelines and what will happen. I don't like doing time exactly because it's really up to them. I have gotten readings, like what we would call a misa, where a bunch of us would come together. This is many, many moons ago. We would come together and we could scry and water and glasses and stuff like that. There have been readings that have come through and they were for me that happened 4 or 5 years later. But see, the spirits see it. The divine will see it and they'll speak on it. And I've had people like throw it back at me and be like, that's not happening. That's not going to happen. Yeah, well, like they see what we don't. And so what I do is I can see the vision and I'll open my mouth. But also what I truly firmly believe in, this goes back to being a spiritist, the studies of Allan Kardec, is about our positive progress and doing everything with humility, with integrity for our soul's evolution, with grace. So we have to be cautious because I've also had readings done, and that's why I do my readings the way I do. I've had readings done where an enlightened spirit will come through, your guardian angel, or, they'll come through. And because we are still in flesh, right? We have all these emotions, ego, all of these different things. It can come through filtered through the ego of the wound, and then it will be projected in the most negative manner. We have to be cautious as mediums, as mystics, as channelers, as empaths, because we are so sensitive that when we get that message, it is literally a divine message that comes through, and that we do the best of our ability to deliver it with ethics and honor. And so that's the way I was trained. Especially, we can incur negative karmic repercussions as well. So when I do my readings, I will see things. And so I have to deliver them truthful. That was actually an order from my guardian angel. He told me straight up, Molly, during divination through a group of us, he said, this is like what she has to do. Always speak truthful. Always do this. Always do that. I'm like, yes, sir. Like, okay. It's really important that we speak truth, but we do it with integrity, because these are people's lives. These are real experiences, and people have gone through a lot of trauma. And so we have to try and guide to the best of our ability and develop our gifts. So I love what I do. I love channeling. I use the cards as a tool. I thought about maybe doing it without the cards at some point. I'm constantly getting downloads and messages. I'm always curious. I'm always asking my guides. I'm always in prayer asking. I'm always in the bath, because that's a really good way to get channeled messages. So I was thinking about doing it that way, but I feel like the collective can relate to the cards. Now, when I do it, I try to educate. Yes, the cards have meaning. Hi, guys, have meaning, but they're so much deeper than that. There's so much. I mean, I could see like it's a television, like all these scenarios happening. It's so crazy. It's really beautiful. And I love helping people. I love it. It brings me so much joy to be able to help.
It does. And one of the things I will say I've kind of borrowed and I pay homage to, but I don't name you directly on it
Mhm.
because I'm on doing other things and I don't want to, overstep and, create, confusion with people. But one of the things that Molly does that I've brought to other aspects is she does readings and she'll say, "This is for the collective. Whoever gets it, it's for you." It's not necessarily for everybody, but and so when I was doing gemstones, for example, I'd always, we'd always be like, "Well, how do we want to start?" And I'd go, and I started out by saying, "Well, a friend of mine has this really great thing that she does," and I would say, "How about doing one for the collective?"
Yeah,
And
yeah,
we would do it for that. And
yeah,
it was my way in my mind of going, this is really cool how Molly does this. Maybe, we can start a trend to where a lot of people and a lot of different modalities are reading for the collective and more people get out, something out of it and start to follow and start to, participate because
right,
they're feeling drawn in rather than saying, this is for so and so, this is for so and so. And they're like, okay, yeah, maybe someday I'll get my turn, or oh, they always have it pre who they're going to talk to, so I'll go
that's what.
on and they won't watch. And so I just wanted to share that with you that I do that with when I have the opportunities of going and saying, let's do something for the collective because I love that you do that.
Yeah, it's for everybody, you know? Sometimes people are like, "How did you know my entire life story?" I'm like, um, they're telling me what this like, it's like coming through. I don't know who I'm talking to. It's for everybody. So it kind of like blows my mind, but at the same time, I know how the spirits work, how the enlightened spirits work, like because they could see one of the things they told me many, many years ago. It was like, Molly, you're going to be all alone. Um, Everyone's going to betray you. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. And I'm sitting here in a room, mind you, this is being channeled through and they have to speak the truth. I'm sitting in a room full of like spiritual family that I thought had my back. And I'm going, I'm in a relationship, married. I have all of this family here, and I'm looking around going, oh my God, my ancestors are coming through saying, no, this is actually what's going to happen, Molly. So just know, they said, you're going to feel very alone, but please remember, you're never alone. We're with you. And I go, oh my gosh. And some of the people were like, yeah, because they could see. It was so crazy. So it's like, they can see what we don't. And that's why it's our job to give that guidance and the truth so people can be aware um, of what could be. And it could be, 3 days, it could be 3 years, but it gives us time to prepare. As long as we trust the divine, we have to trust. And then that gives us the guidance to get in preparation. The divine sometimes isn't just going to give you that tower moment and be like, there you go, your whole world is shaken up. No, they're going to try and give you the guidance so that way you can prepare. So the catastrophic event is not as catastrophic, or you make the choices to stay in alignment for positive progress. So that way things don't just fall apart like they did for me. And for many people, many people. So they give you the opportunity to align yourself, to get
And
prepared for that divine union too. People are like, when's it coming? Well, are you really ready? It's like, are you prepared? So it's coming. There, I trust them. So,
and what's kind of funny about that, not your story funny, but
oh, thanks.
for me is when we first started talking, it was like, yeah, I can do this, I can do that, yeah, I can do this. And I kind of felt like at first I was like, and you probably noticed like I would stop talking as much about what I can do because I was like, I'm probably coming off as this egoic, arrogant, know-it-all person,
I
and
would
I'm like,
never
that's
think
not me. And so
mm-mm,
I was like looking at how I was coming off, and
mm-mm.
and then when you were like, yeah, everyone's gonna betray me. I know it's gonna be, and I was like, I've gone through that, and pulled through and survived that, and
That was a
so
long time ago. That hasn't happened because I pulled away from all those, yeah,
yeah.
people.
But I remember when we talked about it, and you were like, and I was like,
Oh, yeah,
and I
yeah.
opened up to you, and I was like,
You've been there.
I've been through a similar scenario, so
A lot of people
know
have.
when I tell you I got your back, and
Thank you.
I'm there. That I'm not just saying it. That this is whether we're talking or not, I got your back.
Thank
And
you.
so it was like and so I laugh when I hear you always say everyone's gonna betray, and I'm like, not me.
No, and I believe that, we can't think like that either. Like we have to that's part of the process of healing as well, is when I heard that and when that occurred, that was so long ago. So that was, oh my gosh, from 2020, 2021, and situations before that. And so one of the biggest things on our journey is to, and this is a hard one for people, right? Is forgiveness. Now, when I say forgiveness, it is not for reconciliation necessarily. It is not necessarily for that other person. When you can forgive yourself and understand that every single situation is for positive progress, for evolution, growth, learning, and education, and that everyone is a teacher, then you can look at it completely different and be like, oh my gosh. So I signed up for the betrayal contract. Okay. I signed up for the abandonment contract. I signed up for the karmic contract over here. And you're like, whoa, okay, how can I grow from this? Or how did my parents and my grandparents encounter anything like this or even farther back? And then I signed up for it to break that in this lifetime and then break it for my son so he doesn't have to deal with it. So then you see it from this higher perspective and you're like, whoa, okay, I see you. Thank you. And then you are able, and then also forgiving that person, forgiving yourself, not operating in shame and guilt or blame, because I'm going to tell you, we have shortcomings. I have made so many mistakes on my journey. My spirits have come through and said, don't do that. And I did it. And it backfired. And I'm like, why'd I do that? They're like, we told you not to. And I'm like, oh my gosh. But this, cause and effect. There's things that are going to occur because we don't listen. That's why they give us the guidance. And that's why it's important to listen. But forgiveness is huge because I have forgiven everybody. I even talked to my ex and I was like, thank you. Like literally, if I wouldn't have gone through all this stuff, I would not even, I don't even know if I would think this way or that way. Or it's such a beautiful, empowering experience because it shows you the muscle that you have, the courage that you have, what's actually inside of you, who actually loves you and protects you. And so it's like, and then when you forgive, it frees like the karmic cord, it like releases it. Doesn't mean they don't try to come back or whatever, but and you just got to forgive yourself. And then what happens is you align, I'm going to circle back. You align with dear friends who have your back, like you, Michael, because energetically you have let go of that mindset, that frequency, and you're like, no, I forgive, I trust this journey. And then what happens is you align with beautiful people, individuals like you, who absolutely have your back, are supportive, and absolutely adore you. And you're like, whoa. And it shifts things.
Yeah, and I love how synchronicity works
Mm-hmm.
because Sears Dreams just joined us, and she has a comment
Okay.
right along with what you're saying, and she
Tell me
says,
about your book.
So funny. I bought your book, Michael. I did bibliomancy and went right to a page about forgiveness.
Whoa. Don't you love it? Oh my gosh. I love you guys. They're
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
And she says I got one of Gina's books and went right to synchronicity.
That
And
is,
so, yeah, I love how the universe works and when you're open to it. And
yeah.
I remember, too, a moment where, when we were first getting to know each other and sharing our stories, and, it's not easy to get vulnerable with strangers that you've never met in person.
Right.
But I remember talking to you and being like, I don't know why I'm able to say this and tell you this, but this is what I've gone through. This is my experiences, growing up and shaped me into who I am. And you were like, yeah, I get it and I see it. And it was like, and there was like no judgment to it, but there was also, though, the ease of talking about it. And I even commented to you, oh my God, I think this is the first time I've been able to tell this story and not get emotionally charged
That's
from
wonderful.
it. And that,
That's
that,
wonderful.
yeah, and that's something that, both of us share is like we are so there that when we're talking about something and we're so in our minds and going, oh, I've cleared this and I'm done with this and this is this, and we'll put each other in check and go, you're sounding
Right.
a little charged still by that. You sure you're done? And
You know what? That's so true too. And that's powerful, Michael. That's powerful. Because when you can talk to somebody about that, that's like, yeah, because then you're revealing another layer, which is really important. Because even if you think that you've done it and you are able to have somebody like that, to where you're like, no, 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 I'm seeing something. And you're like, well, wait a minute, maybe I am. Maybe I have to reflect on that.
yeah, and a lot of people don't know that when I do shadow work, one aspect that I just love and adore about it is, is the gift that comes out of doing the
Mhm.
work. But the other part is I may be doing shadow work and I'm like, I feel like I'm getting nowhere.
Mhm.
And I'll be drawn to talk to Molly and I'll be like, yeah,
Mhm.
and she'll ask me something about shadows and we'll start talking about shadow work and then I'll hang up and I'll be like, oh, dude, I just got the key and I figured out what I'm missing and I'm able to work through it. And she actually is one of the people, and I don't think I've ever told you this, but you're one of the people that when I talked to about this totally revamped my view of what the shadow is.
Wow. Really?
And I used to think it was the darkest part of us that you hide away and bury and never
Um,
talk about because, shadows are always portrayed as dark.
right. Oh my God, I love how you bring this up because I just got a download about this and I was gonna wait, but you're bringing it up. That is so wow.
And talking with Molly, she'd be like, so, but what's the positive you're learning? What's the light of what you're going through? And it's like, yeah. And then it's like totally synchronistic,
Right.
couple years after that conversation, I'm sitting there and I'm getting ready to write about shadows and I'm getting ready to do stuff around it. And I'm like, oh my God, the shadow is the perfect balance of light and dark. It's our perfect balanced
The
self.
shadow is not evil. The shadow is not
And
evil. The shadow is
yeah,
so beautiful. It's been so shamed. And if we just integrate who we are, we have so if we we talk too loud, if we're too expressive, if we have a moment where we're cranky, grouchy, or we stand up for ourselves, or we set boundaries, or we're sensual. I mean, all of that's like, oh no, no. The shadow is not a bad thing. It's our defender. It's our protector. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's our balanced self.
Yeah. It's my son. It was really cute. We work really hard, and he's a type 1 diabetic, and he had his blood sugar dropped in the middle of the night, and then it kept dropping, and that hasn't happened in a while. And so he's really feeling a bit off. It was like the next day. I don't remember. This was probably a week ago. And so I'm like, good morning, sunshine. Walking in, I'm like, puppy, your brother's awake. And he was not feeling good. And so he was a bit grouchy, and my son, and met him several times. Yeah. And he's so peaceful, so loving, and so kind. Like, I really do believe that God was like, you're going to need him on your journey, Molly. So I'm going to bless you with him. Because I even had a vision of him, in my, I had a dream when I was pregnant. But he was pretty grouchy, and I didn't say anything. And I reflected. I saw him. I could see. And he came out of his room, and he looked at me and he goes, Mom, I'm sorry that I was really grouchy. I said, you don't need to apologize. I said, you're allowed to be grouchy. You're allowed to feel what you feel. Absolutely. You're feeling it for a purpose. I got you. I know you. I know you to the core. I know your heart and who you are. I'm not upset with you. You go ahead and vent. You go ahead and feel what you feel and do your thing. And he looked at me and he's like, thank you. And I'm like, you're welcome. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah. We are all going to have our moments, and we have to be free to be ourselves, because people, really to the core, we really are. We are love, but we are supposed to have all of these emotions. And we shouldn't be shamed for them. We should be supported. It should be embraced.
Yeah. And what's really cool is in knowing your son, I was talking with someone who does recorded shows, they don't do live.
Mm-hmm.
And they go and they edit, and they're like, I really have a hard time with editing. And I go, well, I might be able to help you out with that, because I have a friend whose son does her editing. And when she does her shows, he will say, when you have something you want edited out, just say edit. And so it's a marker for
Like,
you to see what's going on, and to do it. And he goes, oh my gosh, that is so cool. I'm gonna try that and do that. And so I'm like,
oh,
and it
that was
was so
funny.
funny that day that he told us that, and it was during one of our lives, and we had like 5 restarts because
That
we
was
kept
so
making each
funny.
other laughing over
I
it. And we're like,
remember
edit,
my.
edit, edit.
Oh my gosh, I remember that. That was so funny. Yeah.
But
That was
yeah,
funny.
it's the simplest things that people do that make a huge difference. And it's like, I personally, I don't edit things, and so I keep it in the back of my mind. So
We
if I
need to.
ever do, I'll use it. But it kind of made me feel special and paying a little homage to him to be able to share that with somebody
Right.
else who does it, and that it was so well received. And I was like, yeah, we always, you get little nuggets, I call them, along your journey, and there's never, clarity why we get those. Like, for the example of, I don't do editing, so why would I remember an editing trick?
Right.
But then when it comes time to use it, it's like right there, and it's like so cool in that moment to be able to help somebody and realize I'm not the one helping him. The person who told me this is helping him through
Isn't
me.
that amazing?
So
That
I'm a
guidance, that
channel
right.
between it. And so I was like, yeah, we're not just channels for the spirits above, we're channels for each other.
Absolutely. We are spirit. We
Yeah.
are beautiful spirit here to help each other for our progress, our evolution. And yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. Wow. Well,
Yeah.
thank
And
you. I'll tell him.
yeah, and I remember when you first asked me and you're like, "Hey, would you be willing to do live?" And I was like, um in person? Yeah, sure. And I was like in my head I was like,
That was fun.
what is this going to look like, because I'm like, wow, it's like and we just were having so much fun. It's like I forgot we were doing show and it was like literally like what we're doing here, except we're sitting next to each other. And it was a lot of fun, but at the same time, I was like nervous because I'm like, oh my God, what if I say something that's off or I misspeak and I'm like, because I know she edits, but this is in person. This is not, looking at someone on a screen and going, yeah, they could be, off and having whatever. We're in energy together. And
Mhm.
I was a little nervous at first because I was like, man, our energy is actually going to mix or are we going to be like, boom, and going, yeah, we shouldn't have done this.
No, I
Was kind of
love
in my
to.
mind
Yeah.
because it was so new. And I remember when we were done, I was like, so when are we doing this again? And I was
Yeah, it was
like,
really fun doing that.
yeah,
I
it was.
Happy
And
Moon hung out with us for part of the show.
she
I wasn't
did.
there. Yeah, she was hanging out with us. It was really cool.
And
Yeah.
it was just kind of funny being, and we had, so in full transparency, there were a few blooper moments where we would have to be like, yeah, we got to edit that out. Or, yeah, I went on a tangent one time and we were like,
I remember that.
what are you doing? I was like, I don't know. It
I
just came
remember
out.
I
So
remember that, Michael.
we're taking that out. I'm like,
And
okay, no worries.
we don't edit like the Ryan. What he does is he'll put the intro, outro. I mean, we keep it so simple. It is nothing fancy. But I remember that time, and I was like, "What are we talking about right here, Michael? Like, what's
Yeah.
going on here?" I was like, "Oh my gosh." Uh,
And then I remember the second live, I was like, I'm totally not going to do that. I'm totally going to stay
yeah,
on target and everything. And you asked me about, I think it was handler at that moment, and I was like, and I had this frozen look, and I was like,
you know what they say?
handlers are, and I was like, oh, we're going there.
I'm
Okay.
gonna actually ask you about this real quick because it popped into my head, and it did come across my feed, and I'm just curious your opinion, if you don't mind, because I know Puppy Moon, she wants to go on her walk. Um, Handlers, they say that if you're in a relationship with somebody who is like has narcissistic tendencies or any of those tendencies, they say that that is like a handler. What do you know, or what would be your opinion on that, please?
So handlers are people that can be in your family. They
Okay.
can be loved ones that you're in relationships with. And I know this is going to sound super creepy and
Okay.
totally out there, but when it comes to like relationships, they are told to go into that relationship. They don't choose it. They're
Oh,
like, this is my assignment. So I'm going to do this. And so that's why you can kind of get a feeling that someone you're with is a handler because there won't be an emotional attachment. It's like the emotions don't mix. It's
Okay.
like surface level mix, but I'm talking like the deep down, like, and I'm talking like our friendship, kind of like relationships, where I know in my core, no matter what, you got my back, I got your back. But handlers, you don't have that. There is no, they got my back, or they're, you know, unconditional. You'll start to feel pulling like it's being forced and uncomfortable because it's a mission to them. It's not real.
Question. You said they are told to go into that relationship. So who tells them?
That could be so me being in the programs, and when I say programs, I'm talking secret space programs. My handlers would be the agencies that are running
Okay.
my program. In real life, it could be family who has an agenda for you, arranging something. It could be spirit guides that are like, we got to learn a lesson here, so we're going to put this into play. So handlers aren't always done by negative acts, but their activity
Mm-hmm.
is what's deemed a negative because they have zero interest in your welfare. Actually, they are there to make you do something. And so, let's say, hypothetically, when you were married and they needed you to stay asleep,
Mm-hmm.
your the job of your ex was to keep you from spiritually growing. So anytime you would start to show a spiritual spark, that's when you would see them be like, "No, you're imagining that. That's not it." And they would be totally unsupportive of it and totally be kicking you down. And so
So interesting.
that's the handler. It's, they're that's why I say they're doing what they're told. Is they view it as, this is my mission. I complete my missions.
Right.
So therefore, I'm not gonna, become attached. And a way to look at it too is, Molly, how I love doing movies and TVs.
I know you do. Go for it.
When you watch like the spy movies where you have a couple that I think was it Mr. and Mrs. Smith,
Smith.
where they were two spies opposing to each other, but they were married
Mm-hmm.
and they ended up having to help each other. And but they were totally living separate lives, and you
Mm-hmm.
could totally see there was no real emotion between them as
Right.
long as they were on mission. But when they were not on mission, at the end they broke free of their program, so to speak. Then they started to bind, together and bond, and something came out of it.
Right.
But what I'm talking about is the initial part of, hey, honey, I'm going to be late. Okay. No care in the world about why they're going to be late. Or, hey, sorry I missed dinner. It's okay. They don't care because there's no emotional bond. Like,
Interesting.
the
Wow. Yeah.
handlers can't bond because then they can become compromised.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Thank you for that explanation, Michael.
You're welcome.
That's so beneficial. I'm sure that's going to be enlightening to many people too. So,
Yeah. And Cirrus is saying, I heard something today like, you can think all the things that could go wrong, but do you think about all the things that could go right? And even if it doesn't
Right.
go well, you'll get through it.
Right. Right.
And
It's always for growth. I feel like it's always for growth. So even if they're put into your life or there's a circumstance, it it's to teach us something. And if we only think about what could go wrong, I mean, gosh, let's say, okay, so for instance, yeah, with my old relationship, maybe that person was put there to block my path, but all the things I went through that my guides were pushing through, they're like, no, you're going here. You got to do this. And whether it was the car accident, whether it was getting sick, but it was like there was these like massive turbulent experiences in order to wake my butt up. It was like, wake up, woman, wake up, wake up. You know, you've got to grow, you've got to evolve. This is your path. And sometimes it's not the way we want it to go, or sometimes it's not easy, but really it's for our development. It's for the greatest good, for our higher good. So we need to look at it in that way, not in the worst way. So, but
and one thing too that I'll say real quick about what we're talking about is we're using terms like dark, light, good, bad, but you have to realize these are our filters and our
right,
perceptions
that's true.
that we're using to explain so that everyone can understand. Because if we just said, yeah, this person did this and left it at that, everyone's going to be wondering what's the point of what we're saying. And so
Yeah,
we have to put in these descriptive terms to so that everybody understands. But at some point, we're going to reach to where we realize handlers are energy.
everything's
They're not
energy.
good or bad.
Right.
They're just who they are. We're not good or
Oh,
bad. Who is controlling the handlers are not good or bad. They're just energy, and that is a world where things are going to start getting very interesting because when you understand things are just energy portraying, then it's not, oh, this is meant for this or that. They're just learnings put out there doing what they can do to help the other person learn.
that's right.
And they're not evil, they're not good. They just are space that's being held for your growth.
Everything is
And
about
that's,
growth.
yeah, everyone's going to be doing that for each other.
This is
And
such a small piece of our journey. Right here, right now, this planet, tiny piece. It's for our learning and growth, but it's a tiny piece. That was more for the time. Oh, oh, okay. But yeah, everything is for growth, you know, and I feel like people say dark as if it's, you know, something evil, but we were talking about the shadow too, you know, it's portrayed as something so negative, you know, it's all about our perception. Um, we don't have to look at things so negative.
no, we don't. And one of the things that I talk about that you laugh about a lot because you find it funny when I bring it up is time, how it's not natural, it's artificial, but yet we're held by
Mhm.
the construct, and it moves fast and it moves slow depending on. I
Same.
just noticed we were an hour and 38 minutes and we were like, yeah, we'll go a little bit longer, and we're
Oh,
like
wow.
almost into a whole nother episode.
It's time.
And
It's time.
it's just that, when we're authentically into our topics and we're sharing, the time just goes by so fast, and it's like, wow. And so I am blessed to say that even though, I would love to keep going, but I know you got Princess Puppy Moon to
Princess
walk
Puppy's
and
gotta go.
you got things to do. I will say, if you really have enjoyed us interacting on this show, in May, she will be on my Tuesday night show. So watch for that. And, we'll see what we talk about there. But I just want to share, that. And I will shamelessly plug because I can. And I know you're not going to get upset by this, is we are also looking at, our schedules to have me appear again on Molly's show. So
Hmm.
make sure you follow both of us because we pop up unexpectedly on each other's stuff, and it's
How
just
we were taught.
yeah.
That's
So if
true,
you're in,
Tammy. That's true.
yeah, so make sure to like and follow because you never know when we're gonna pop up either in the chat rooms or leaving comments or showing up on the shows.
Yep. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. And as my favorite little cartoon mouse would say, and it's not Jerry for everybody, sorry, it's from a different cartoon. I it was like he was the villain of the story, but he always cracked me up and always made me laugh and lifted me up. And his line was, Sabra Fair is everywhere.
What is that from?
I think it was a little cartoon inside of, I think it was Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's
Okay.
an oldie, but
Mhm.
yeah, he was. It was Klondike Mouse,
Cute.
and the Mounties kept trying to catch him, but they never could. And he would always yell, "Savoir faire is everywhere."
That's so cute, Michael.
But thank you for coming on,
Oh,
and
you're welcome. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, thank you. And thank you to everyone for, being here and love and support. Yeah.
yes, and
Hey,
both of
Michael.
her YouTube channels are in the description, so you can find the links there. And if you want to make sure you're on the right page, I think if I remember right, the thumbnail has both of your channel borders on them. I th- I think, or has one of them at least, and so you'll know it's her because one, you could search through the episodes and you'll find my name,
Mhm.
or if you watch a video, you'll obviously recognize her. But
Walk with Faith Healing. It's got a lotus on a gold lotus or gold and white. And then Crossroads meets the Ocean Rose has a picture of me on it. But yeah. Yeah, and
and
Michael's on there. Michael's on the Walk with Faith 4 times. So those were so much fun.
and one thing I will say as host prerogative, if you go to Crossing Roads Meets the Ocean Rose, there is a website where you can get cool clothes.
My t-shirt.
And
Oh yeah, my t-shirt, Warrior of
it
Light.
was synchronicity where I wore this because I was visiting someone and I was like, this shirt feels like the best shirt. And then I realized on the way home, I even messaged Molly on my way home and I was like, oh, and by the way, I'm wearing your shirt today.
Yeah, that's the
And
original too. That's the
it is.
original design. Yeah,
And for those that can't read it because it's
Warrior of
mirrored,
Light.
it's Warrior of Light, and then her website's on the back.
Yeah, and then it's got the phoenix on the back. Yeah. Oh.
I don't know that I had the Phoenix on the back on this one.
Oh, really? There's no phoenix?
I think
Oh
is
no, that is like the original. You're
yeah,
right. Whoa. That's so great. That's so
but she
cool.
does. Why don't you promote what you sell? Because you sell a lot, real quick.
Okay. So everything, yeah. So me and my son, we started a business. We started from the ground up, and everything that we do is in some way to be able to benefit people. It's we collaborate with other beautiful souls. They're oh, you're welcome, love. I don't see who. Okay, they left the comment. You're welcome.
Oh, it was
You know,
serious.
it's subbed. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Um, so basically, like starting from the ground up, we're going to keep adding stuff, but we have cleansing products that I know work. Everything I've tried, different scrubs. We also have, the AO scan on there, which is like different frequencies for quantum healing. We have inner voice, which regulates, it brings things into equilibrium for using your voice, your own individual frequency, and it creates this beautiful frequency in music. I also do personal readings, so that's on there. We sell clothing. My son's music that he creates, oh my gosh, his creative, inspiring, faith-based music that is spiritual. It's absolutely gorgeous. And different just like cleansing things that we know are going to help people. And we just keep sewing back into it. So when people sew into us, we're sewing back out, and then I'm able to help people in other ways. And then when people get readings from me, a lot of times, or even if they just contact me, a lot of times I will give them like just spiritual prescriptions. It's a good way to contact me, work with me, so that way I can give spiritual guidance and prescriptions that they can take, they can create on their own and have their own toolbox, spiritual toolbox. So, but we've been working on it for a couple years, and it's growing bit by bit, and we just love it. Everything is just, and we have everything here. So, I did do custom candles for a while, but I'm going to tell you that was a little bit of a mess. So we'll get back there and do that. But everyone I work with, I know their intention, and then it comes here, and then the amount of prayer, love, frequencies, and everything, the intention that goes into I mean, it's so jam-packed with love, and healing energy. So, and we love what we do. So we get so excited. My son, he's like, I got an order. And I'm like, yes. And he's like, I'm going to package it up like it's this little beautiful, present. And we just really enjoy helping people. So, and doing what we love.
And
I'm so passionate about it. Can you tell?
and it's funny too because she'll like post it on Instagram, and I'll be like, I'll text her and I'll be like, "How are you doing all of this with all that you already in?" I'm like, "How?" And I'm like, "God, you're making me feel like
You
I'm
love
not
it.
doing hardly
No,
anything." And
no, not
it's
at all.
like, it's just funny because it's like I know I'm doing a lot,
You
and
are. Yeah, no, we just love
but
it.
it's like, because yeah, you're always like introducing, it's like almost like, I'd almost say like on a clockwork schedule of every few months, it's like something new, and you're like, we're now doing this, and we're
We
now
throw back
doing
into it.
this. And
Yeah, constantly sewing. Um, the newest thing is the Solex, is the AO scan technology, which I love, and we have that on the Walk with Faith now. I'm doing those Cephi frequencies. It's projecting. So if people choose to utilize that energy, it's so powerful. But they can get actually custom, which is, yeah, I love what we do. I love this journey. Even at the lowest moments, the scariest moments, I love them. This journey is incredible.
it is, and thank you
Yeah,
again. And
you're welcome.
we're gonna end this now so that Princess Poppy Moon can get her walk, and I know you got prayer time to get to,
I'm
and
ready for
so,
tomorrow's YouTube.
oh yeah, I got it up. I got, and one thing I will say about subscribing to Molly's channels is she does offer, for a small price that you can pay, and you get more in depth and more content, but it's totally worth it, and it's amazing what she's putting out. But also, I love and I get excited when I open my email or my phone will have the YouTube digest that lets me know when
Oh,
channels have updated something, and it'll go Crossroads meets the Ocean Rose has
really?
scheduled something, and I'm like, oh, so I get alerted and I get
Oh,
emails,
that's
of oh, YouTube, this channel has put this out, and I'm like, oh, I gotta go check this out, and I will. And I'm really bad about because I'm so busy. I listen in the background that I do listen to a lot of her things, but I don't always comment. But I do like, and so
thank you.
I try to help her out with her algorithm.
Thank you.
And so everybody, if you get a chance, if you go and you watch her videos, do help her out with doing likes and comments because we're doing this out of the kindness of our hearts. We're not getting, well, I can say I'm not getting paid to do these
Hmm.
on the channels. And so
I
it's
love
our
it.
offering to you. And so you're helping us with the algorithms, making our shows popular is so touching and endearing.
Right.
And this is my favorite moment because I have a message for Molly.
You do?
I do.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm going to try and get through it because this one's a little more emotional than most because
Oh,
of our friendship and connection. But my heart and the heart of my shows to you, thank you for what you're doing for humanity. It's
oh my God.
seen, felt, and heard. Much, much appreciative.
Thank you so much. Oh, that means a lot to me. Don't make me emotional, Michael. Wow. Thank you. Well, I thank you too. And I'm grateful for you to be in my life on this journey and for what you're doing too. What you're doing is huge. But thank you for that. That means a lot to me. You're going to get me emotional. I'm doing that.
I don't know. I'm like, breathe, breathe.
Yeah, that was really sweet. Thank you.
You're welcome, man. It's authentic, and that's what I love about it. It's authentic. It's me expressing how I see what you're doing and everything, and
Thank you.
it,
I
it
try to do my best. That's all we can do.
took the words right out of my mouth. I was
Did
trying.
I?
I was literally about to say that. God, now she's starting to finish my thoughts.
Sorry.
Oh no, that's totally cool with me because saves my breath.
No, that really touched me. Thank you so much because it's we do what we do because we love what we do and we want to see people happy. I think one of the hardest things for me, what I've realized lately, and then we'll get off, is I hate to see people suffer and be in pain. And so I want to do everything I can to guide and help to the best of my ability if people are open to it in my own way and if it aligns for them, or at least to get them started. Because, and so you see a lot of negativity and suffering, and we just want to help. And so to hear that means a lot. So thank you.
You're welcome, and I'm going to take a moment and just say, in transparency, this is a transparency moment, which I always say is a moment where I reveal something behind the scenes. A lot of times when Molly and I are talking on the phone, we will say bye, and then we'll keep talking about something, and then we'll
We
say
do.
bye,
I
and
know. We
keep
gotta
talking.
go.
And then she'll say a line that go, and she'll end it with, "I really got to go. Okay, bye."
Yeah,
And so I'm like,
we gotta go.
I'm
We're gonna
pulling out that moment of, Hey, Molly, we got to
I'm
end the
gonna go.
show.
All right. Bye.
So, yeah, you guys are getting the true essence of us and what we're like. So, enjoy it and have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.
And of course, the outro doesn't want to work. Why would it? Let's try that again.